The hard route will actually get you to where you want to be faster, but it's mentally hard. Let's say your local city center, downtown. Go to where the people are in your whatever city you live in, and then I would start interviewing those people in real life. I would drive to Melrose. I would set up my camera, set up my tripod. I would have my mic, and I would shoot YouTube videos. People would be walking by, biking by, skateboarding by, driving by, right? And then I'm doing my content, but I'm out there in the element. So yeah, of course I'm gonna feel nervous, so I'm gonna be wondering what people think. But truly, they wanna be you. First off, that's ignorant, and you don't know his value. So you don't know what other resources or relationships that he has, right? People don't have attention spans. I don't know, this might be 40 minutes, 50 minutes, maybe an hour. They're not getting to the end. Listen, y'all, if y'all watching this right now, you want a free trainer, free resource, text the word training to 213-410-4920. Secondly, the podcast doesn't bring the value. You do. He supplies the platform. So if you don't want to go on another person's platform to snap and tap on your value so you can gain more credibility and build your brand, then you have a backwards way of what you think. Because the platforms is not what's going to make you. Right? You can perform in Madison Square Garden and not have a great show. Yeah. Right? Or you can perform like in the community center and go crazy.
Welcome to another episode of Access Granted, where I give you exclusive access to entrepreneurs that are killing it in their industry. Today, I'm super excited because I get to share with you guys somebody I personally learned from. Brandon, what's up? Welcome to Access Granted.
What's going on? I'm appreciative to be here. What have you learned, though? I don't know. What did you learn?
You always, so I initially met you at Power Talks. Event.
Yeah.
And you
were
like
2 years ago?
Yeah, a couple years ago, and you were shining some light on how to monetize a podcast.
Oh, you was in the room.
I was in the room. I came as a speaker, but I stayed because the gems you were giving were just so powerful. So I think shortly after that, I started my podcast.
You did?
Yep. And so, and you know, you reached out a couple of times and told me you would look at some interviews and provide some feedback, and you supported me. So it's just always game and always gems. I seen you on another podcast.
We made a couple dollars together.
I made a couple dollars, right? We made a couple dollars together. And
that's
just
not bad.
Yeah, definitely got to continue this relationship.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Now I'm here.
You're here. Yeah. Welcome. We're excited to have you. So for the person, there's my audience is, entrepreneurs. And I always encourage entrepreneurs, one, to be vocal about their brand, to get on podcasts, to start speaking about, who they are, and to get in the rooms and talk about, how they're able to help others and grow and expand their business. What's the importance of getting in a room like this or a setting like this and actually being on a podcast?
Well, if they don't know you, then no one can flow you. Like, the biggest thing is most people feel like they need to really, not that you don't need to promote, but they have to convince people to buy their product or service. There's people all over the world that already exist with the problem that they got the solution for, but they just don't know that they exist. So it's the entrepreneur's responsibility to put out enough content. They need to look at it not as content, but as digital assets, like even digital real estate. Like, these are bricks. These things, every time you create a piece of content, you're putting out a brick, you're putting out a seed, and you're stacking on top of them. These are building your brand, it's building your authority, it's building your credibility, right? It's showing me that if I search on Google or search on YouTube how to do XYZ, and you're the person that teaches how to do XYZ, I should find your video. But if I can't find your videos, then you're not the person. I'm gonna do what this other person is telling me to do. So what they need to understand is most of them are selfish, and they're selfish because they're not really truly wanting to help some people. Every time I do a workshop, one of the things I ask them, I'm like, who in here thinks that they don't want to be salesy? There's always people like me, I don't want to be salesy. Well, I'm like, you don't really want to help people then. You're selfish, right? Because if I got a problem, like you got a headache right now, you got a headache and I got some aspirin, do I got to sell you the aspirin? Or do I just have to let you know that I have aspirin?
That you can solve my problem.
100%. So anyone that's watching this right now, if you don't want to be salesy, you need to get out of your own way. You got to understand that your responsibility as someone in business that has a product or has a service is to let the consumer know that you exist, that you have the solution to the problem that's already inside of them. So you don't have to convince them that they need to buy from you. You need to convince them that you're the one amongst everyone else that does the same thing that you do that's in that category. And making content and being on podcasts can help you stand alone.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's powerful. How do I get over the fear of being on a podcast? I remember my first podcast, very first one was with Nehemiah Davis.
Okay.
So first pod.
So you came out hot.
Hot, exactly.
Which is that's good. That's a good one to get on hot.
But it was easy for me,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to say easy because I was still very nervous, but it was Neo, and I had already had a relationship with Neo. He made it comfortable. It was very conversational, but everybody doesn't get that lucky. So how do I get over that fear? Like, I know you help a lot of people get on podcasts, and you coach a lot of people to turning their podcast to cash. But how do I get over that fear of actually taking that leap and going out to talk about my brand on someone else's platform?
So you want the easy route or the hard route?
I want the hard route.
All right, so
I like a little challenge.
So the hard route is this. What you would do is, do you still feel this way?
No.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna assume this is the beginning.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're Coach K and this is the beginning, and you want to do the hard route will actually get you to where you want to be faster, but it's mentally hard. What I would say is, I would go down to, let's say, your local city center, downtown. Go to where the people are in your whatever city you live in, and then I would start interviewing those people in real life. Right. So in LA, what I used to do when I was in LA, like a couple times a week, I would go on Melrose. If you've been to LA, Melrose. So I'll go on Melrose. They have all the art out. There's all different color, like buildings, walls, and stuff like that. I would drive to Melrose. I would set up my camera, set up my tripod. I would have my mic, and I would shoot YouTube videos. People would be walking by, biking by, skateboarding by, driving by, right? And then I'm doing my content, but I'm out there in the element. So yeah, of course I'm gonna feel nervous, so I'm gonna be wondering what people think. But truly, they want to be you. They wish that they was making content. You know how many people actually came up to me like, "Damn, bro, what's your YouTube channel? Man, I always told myself I bought a camera, but I never even took out the box." They really want to be you. But if you put yourself in the environment and you just do the thing, you get a couple of reps under your belt, not only are you going to be the one inspiring other people, you're going to get over that fear. Fear's not even real. But that's the hard route, because most people are going to be overthinking that. They're going to be like procrastinating. They're going to be fearful. But if you do that a few times, you're not going to be worrying about it, because, like I said, you got people walking by, driving by, right? They may comment, may not comment. They may look at you. You know what I'm saying? But if you can endure that, you're going to be perfectly fine. The easy route would just be pull your phone out, and then just start interviewing people or asking people to interview that you know. Family, friends, colleagues, peers. Just get comfortable just doing that. And then you just add in, if you know your material, it's fine. Like, if you really know how to help somebody, what are you nervous about?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the easy route. But I would probably swing you over to the hard route.
Yeah, I think I took the easy route to start. So people would ask me all the time, like, how did I get better at speaking? Because, we're coming up on 1 year of access granted, and I promise you it was not like this. Yeah, super exciting. But I would use Instagram Live.
Yeah, that works too.
So I would go live on Instagram, and I would have people ask me questions, and I would answer those questions to kind of get over that fear. But I also hired a speaking coach, because I knew that starting a podcast, being better at speaking, being on bigger stages was a goal, and I needed help and support. So shout out to my mentor, Marcus Rozier. But I hired a speaking coach. And I use Instagram as my stage and as the platform to make me better. So
that's actually how I got on stages from podcasts.
Really?
Yeah.
That's super dope. Yeah. And I think it's just important that we use the resources and tools that we have. This is something that we use. We grab our phones all day, every day. So why not use it to become better? And 100%. Then I would download those Instagram Reels or those Instagram Lives, and I would either turn it into Reels, or I would use it to audit myself. Like, ooh, I wish I would have said this, or maybe I was talking too fast, or next time I probably should insert this, or next time I should drop my link, different things that I could do to make myself better. And I think that's what it is. But once I started the podcast, I started doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I would take my episodes and watch them and figure out what I should do to make myself better.
And most people don't do that. They don't watch the tape.
Yeah, I watch the tape. I still watch the tape. Like, oh, I should have said this, or I shouldn't have said that, or maybe I should have asked the guest this, so I know what to do and what to insert next time.
Yeah, for sure.
So what's your take on, everybody feels like, oh, I have a good message, or I'm really good at talking, or I should start a podcast. When do I know if I should start? Should I start a podcast? And when do I know if I should, and if podcasting is for me?
So I always start from the back. It's like, what's the reason and what's the intention?
Yeah.
So if you just want to start because it's cool, you feel like doing it, that might not be the reason why you should do it. You probably shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like, so do you want to have conversations? So how I started was, I wanted to learn things, and I wanted to bring some value to people that I wanted to learn from. And at the time, I didn't really have value that I could see. Like I think I was still working real estate. I was an agent in Boston, but I wanted to learn more things, right? And I couldn't just ask everyone to have lunch with me. You know, like it's like I'm stealing from them. So I just started interviewing people on YouTube. It wasn't a podcast. I just started doing interviews and I would post them on YouTube. But I noticed every time I would ask someone that, you know, that I had in regard that was like a higher stature or that maybe an owner, entrepreneur, you know, they would all say yeah. So I realized that, okay, well, every single person saying yes to have a conversation with me just because I have this camera, I'm gonna just ask more people that's in a higher regard. So I just started asking 6-figure entrepreneurs, 7-figure entrepreneurs, 8-figure entrepreneurs, people that funded, you know, founded things and launched things. Everyone say yeah. So at the very least, if you're someone that wants to have conversations with, let's say, higher net worth individuals, that's a perfect opportunity to start a podcast. And you know, it doesn't even have to be in person. They'll have the same conversation with you virtually. So that's number one. If you want to monetize a podcast, you have to think about, well, how do you want to monetize it? So if you're a business owner, one of my favorite ways is the podcast to cash strategy, and it's where we turn the podcast into a funnel. So for instance, I'll give you an example, perfect example. So you help people get access to capital via grants, right? So what if instead of let's say you started a different show. I like the name though, so we'll call it Access Granted Also.
Okay.
Right? Welcome to the Access Granted Also show, right? So instead of you just interviewing, let's say, other business owners and entrepreneurs, what if you interviewed people that want to learn more about how they can get access to grants? How they can get access to funding, right? You sat down, you ask them these questions, but at the same time, you ask them who are they, how they help people, what do they currently do, what would they do with the money, what's your current life situation, what's your story? At the end of the podcast, they got 4 options. They either want to work with you because you can help them with grants because you're simply going to flip the conversation. Well, we could actually help you with that. So you're either going to turn them into a client, you're either going to book a call, right? They're either going to give you a referral or potentially be an affiliate. So you're using the podcast as a tool, right? So it's really like a sales call disguised in a podcast.
That's really good.
So we help them do that and it generates leads. But now instead of you just having, I don't want to say random conversations with people because, you know, conversations are valuable. But you're having conversations very intentionally with people that can be prospects, turn those prospects into clients while you're generating leads and you're closing deals. So that's what we do for business owners who want to add a podcast or media component to their business, right? We just insert the podcast to cash strategy, the client acquisition system. That closes side ticket. That's what cash stands for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we'll do that. Now, if it's someone that just wants to have, hey, I want to just interview people, I want to talk to people, want to have fruitful conversations, then we'll instill what I like to call the foundational 4. So that's digital products, paid podcast community, affiliates, and then the VIP package. These foundational 4 offers can get a podcast to 4 figures, 5 figures, or 6 figures in a month. And any podcast can do that. So if it's entertainment based, you want the foundational 4 offer. If it's going to be leveraging, you want to put in a podcast to cash funnel strategy. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you don't want to do none of that, then maybe you probably don't need to be podcasting because podcasting is not cheap, you know? Like if you're in the studio, you gotta pay for studio, you gotta pay for editing. If you're at the house, you gotta pay for equipment. If you're at home and you're like, well, I wanna do this as slim as possible, you're either gonna do software, which is possible, like StreamYard, Riverside, Ecamm, right, OBS, something like that. Or if you really want to start as slim as possible, then I can teach you how to make $25,000 with your phone. Slim as possible. And that's what I like to call micro podcasting, but it's like a street interview. So you just do 50 interviews for free that shows people that you're the person that does the thing, and then you do your next 50 interviews for $500, $25,000 from 100 micro pieces of content. And all you got to do is just do it. Why would somebody pay you $500 to interview them? Because you just did 50 of them. So you're the person that does the thing. So if they want you to interview, this is the cost. But you were able to get that value because you put the reps in. So if you want the super slim setup, then you do micro podcasting or street interviews. If you got a couple of dollars, you still trying to figure out, then I would do a virtual show. If you got some money and you like to be at the house, then I would get equipment. But if you're someone that just want to show up, you feel like you're talent, you just want to show up, you got to spend a couple more dollars and just get like a studio subscription and the editor, and then you're straight. But you got to decide, do I want to make money or do I just want to have an entertainment podcast? Because if you want to have an entertainment podcast, that's fine. Put in the foundational 4. if you have a business and you want to add a podcast component, then you got to run that podcast to cash funnel.
That's really good. Yeah. I think that's probably an issue that a lot of people have. Like they have the idea of starting the podcast, but they don't really know how to monetize the podcast. Or either they start it and maybe the first video they get, 20 views because family and friends support. And then that next video, they might get 1 or 2 and then they stop because they're not getting...
They got their mind on the wrong metric. Yeah. The metric ain't the views. You know what a view is?
What's a view?
15 to 30. I think it's 15 seconds or 30 seconds is a view. So that's a view. Uh-huh. So if you got 100,000 of those, does that really matter? No one watched your podcast. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the views are really giving people an inflated sense of value. Uh-huh. Right? They're going to disregard, like literally I was going to get this client on 4 shows in Dallas. Right. And he was on my neck like, yo, book me. I'm like, all right, cool. Once he didn't go through with it, I changed the way I book clients. Right. Because one, I booked it. I set them all up, got all the logistics set up. Right. And then he's like, oh, well, these shows only got X, Y, Z. I don't want to do them. Or I don't want to pay this person this. So then I'm like, all right. So I had to have a conversation first. I said, all right, bro, you got to understand. One, you're discounting this person's value. Podcasting ain't free. Mm-hmm. This is a job, or this is an extension of someone's resources. Yes. So because you don't want to pay what you think that he's worth, first off, that's ignorant, and you don't know his value. Mm-hmm. Also, you don't know what other resources or relationships that he has, right? Secondly, the podcast doesn't bring the value. You do. He supplies the platform. So if you don't want to go on another person's platform to snap and tap on your value so you can gain more credibility and build your brand, then you have a backwards way of what you think. Because the platforms are not what's going to make you, right? You can perform in Madison Square Garden and not have a great show. Yeah. Right? Or you can perform like in the community center and go crazy, right? I'm going to do both. Uh-huh. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand the platforms don't make me. The platform introduce me to new audiences. But really when you do podcasts, what are you doing this podcast for? Social media, right? Because I'm going to take 30 clips from this and I'm going to repurpose this across mad platforms. The majority of people are not going to watch the whole pod. I'm not ignorant of that, right? They maybe they just learned about me, right? Or maybe they're fans of you, or vice versa. People don't have attention spans. I don't know. This might be 40 minutes, 50 minutes, maybe an hour. They're not getting to the end. Mm-hmm. My call to action, why would I even wait for it to be at the end? Listen, y'all, if y'all watching this right now, you want a free training, free resource, text the word training to 213-410-4920. You know what I'm saying? I'm not waiting to the end. Right. So it's a strategy. Even if you think about sports, right? Preseason is necessary so you can perform in the season, right? What's the season in this regard? The season is social media. That's where the majority of the intention's at. Mm-hmm. People go to YouTube to search for how to do things. So when they go to YouTube to search for how to do things, the people that really want stuff, and this podcast comes up, guess who's watching it? Those people, because they really want to learn how to do the thing. Mm-hmm. Right? Most casual people are just going to watch the clips. Right. So we're going to make the clips bounce. Right? Uh-huh. So I'm going to go on the brand new podcast, and I'm going to go on a podcast with 1,000 episodes because it ain't about the platforms. It's about how I show up on the platforms. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And if I show up and I do my thing and I use the content, it's going to work for me. But if I don't have a call to action, if I'm not charismatic, if I'm boring, if I'm going to judge the podcast by the views, which is the wrong metric to begin with, then I'm not going to get the result that I want. Yeah. Which is why Homeboy didn't get the result that he wanted, because he's judging these podcasts based on the views when that's not even a real metric at all.
What's your take on, there are people who are like, I'm not paying to be on a podcast. Yeah. And, for me, I realized, and the reason I started Access Granted is I realized that most of my high ticket clients come from YouTube. The people who are spending more time and getting those watch hours in, and they're developing that know, like, trust factor, because on an episode, you get to spend 30, 45 minutes with me. On an Instagram clip, you're only spending about 30 to 60 seconds. So I realized that the people who were watching me on YouTube were investing into my higher dollar programs. Yeah. So what's your take on the people who just, they feel like they shouldn't have to pay to be on a pod? Yeah.
Y'all selfish. What you call the book? Y'all selfish. Because why are you coming on a pod? Because they want to sell their thing. Right. So you want to come on, I call them thieves. So digital thieves. So I want to come on and Access Granted for free. I want to talk about everything I want to talk about. You're going to ask me all the questions to get me to say what I want to say. Then I want the content after. I don't want to pay, and then I want to monetize the content because I want people to buy my stuff. But I don't want to pay for your time. I don't want to pay for your lights. I don't want to pay for your editing. I don't want to pay for this conversation that we have. I want to devalue you as a host or as a creator or as an entrepreneur. It's all about me. Y'all are selfish, bro. That's selfish.
It's very selfish.
And they just robbed you, right? So my thing is, you got to think about it. Let's say I paid you $5K to come on the pod. Let's say my offer is $5K. So I just need one sale. But you know how many pieces of content I get as over 30? So I'm not going to get one sale for 30 pieces of content across multiple platforms while simultaneously growing my brand at the same time?
That's really good.
Nah, that don't make no sense to me, right? So that's why I have these conversations. A lot of times when I'm putting clients on podcasts, it's educational. Because I have to get on understand what the metric is. It's like leads, right? Every lead that you call isn't going to close, but are you trying to track the closes or are you trying to track the leads? Because if I got a 20% conversion rate and I want to make more money, I just need more leads. That's really all it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the last client, actually I got a client, you know Omar El Takori?
Yes.
So I got a client going on O Show. Have you been on there?
I have not.
All right, so O Show is a ticket, right? So I asked this client after we locked in, and I'm like, because I wanted to hear what he thought. So I'm like, what's your plan to get an ROI on this podcast? Well, he's like, well, you know, I'm going to just go on there and, you know, like, they're probably going to hit me. I'm like, bro, that ain't the plan, bro. So basically, I broke down 38 minutes in a video of how we can maximize this podcast. So we did a pre-show strategy, an in-show strategy, and a post-show strategy.
Wow.
So I'm going to drop it on YouTube so you can watch it.
Okay.
I turned it into an ebook. I turned it into and I also turned it into a course.
Okay. Dope.
Using AI.
Yeah.
But now he knows fully how he's approaching the pod, right? He knows what he can do in the beginning. He knows what he can do while he's actually shooting the podcast. And he knows what to do when the podcast is over. All designed to give him an ROI. That's how you got to approach it. You just having casual conversation, talking about whatever with no intention. You ain't going to make no money.
Yeah.
Or you're not going to get the result that you want because your result might not necessarily be money.
Yeah. I have a podcast that I did probably 7 months ago. And when I first looked at it, when I first reviewed it, I probably had 10,000 views. But then a couple of weeks ago, I realized, man, this podcast is still making me money.
Of course.
How's this podcast still making me money? I go look at it, we're over like 300,000 views. And I'm like, this is what people are missing. Like, you go look at it and you're like, oh, it doesn't have that many views or whatever. But then months later, it's still
'cause they don't understand.
making you money.
YouTube is one of the only platforms that compounds on itself. Instagram don't do that. TikTok.
Yeah.
Like, YouTube is really like planting a seed and watering it, right? Because it can get hot in 6 months. There was one podcast I did. It was stuck on 4,000 views for like a year. Then all of a sudden, it shot up to 100,000.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's how these things can happen. And content don't ever stale. So there's still gems in that podcast that you haven't taken out of it, or maybe the host didn't give you because the host just gave you the clips that they wanted to give you.
Right.
You can go back and reclip stuff, or you can find some other stuff. You can turn them into segments. Technically, right, the value that you shared on this podcast and the value that I'm sharing, we can turn that into a digital product and do a 50-50 rev share from the podcast. There's just so many ways to make money on this way. But if people only look at one way or two ways, they're missing all the opportunity.
Let's break down the podcast to cash. You okay with that?
Sure.
So you gave us 4 different ways or 2 different avenues, and then
yeah.
But one of them had 4 different ways you could make money with the pod.
Yeah, for sure.
Can we talk about those again?
Yeah, let's get it. So if you are someone who defines himself as a podcaster, I just like to have interviews, and you want to make money, and you want to do the foundational 4. That's when you're going to package up your podcast into offers.
Okay.
So you're going to have a digital product. That digital product is going to be built around whatever the category of your pod is. It could be value that you currently have, or it could be a synopsis of multiple episodes that you've done, right? Turn that into a digital product, or you can create multiple digital products. Secondly, you want to have a paid podcast community. So people that watch your pod want access. They want access granted. You know what I'm saying? They want more exposure, right? You have a community, right? What are they doing in there, right? They're getting more access. They're learning new things, right? There's this live calls and stuff like that. So podcasters need to build a paid community around the podcast to give their audience more, the ones that want that, right? So there will always be a part of your audience that wants more access, right? They want to jump on a live call. They want to learn from your guests. They want some behind the scenes, right? They want to get 50% off of, whatever you might be offering. You can really paint that picture however you want, but that gives the podcast a recurring revenue. So let's say their expenses is $2,000 to operate the pod for a month. You got 20 people in your paid community at 20 people at $99 a month, that's your 2 bands.
2,000.
Right?
Yeah.
Or 40 at 49, that's your 2 bands. Right? Third is affiliate marketing. This one is this is so, the industry is so big, I don't even know how they missed that. Basically, all affiliate marketing is, Coach K got a headache, I got aspirin, you the podcaster. You just let Coach K become aware that she can get her aspirin from me. She already got the problem. I got the solution. She buys an aspirin from the link that's in your podcast. I send it to her. You get paid, right? You don't hold no inventory, no customer service, no sales, and no delivery. You just wait for the money to come, right? And that happens with Amazon Associates, A1, ClickBank, JV Zoo. These are all affiliate platforms. Or you could just go to a product or service that you currently use in your regular life. Scroll to the bottom of the website and you'll find affiliate partners. Generally, you just register, like I would definitely do that. Now, the easiest way that they can have affiliates, just do an audit, right? So what do you currently use in your life? What are the products or services that you currently re-up in your life? There's probably an affiliate for that. And you're already spending the money, right? And then lastly, VIP package. All that is you're packaging up either the content that you're creating in real time and then offering it back to the guest because it's valuable to them, or you're packaging up those digital assets and then adding the experience on top of it. So I'll give you an example. So let's say the Come On Your Podcast was, let's just call it $2,500, $3,000 come on the podcast. And that's really just me sitting down having a conversation with you. Let's say for $4,000, you send car service from the airport. You document that whole trip from the airport to the podcast, and I do the podcast, and I get access to not only the clips but that documentation. That's all. Now it's an experience, right? So now you're selling the experience. So I had a client that before he met me, and I met him at Podcast Summit, he already made $10,000 because he watched a podcast that I did with Omar. I broke that down, and he just ran with it. He turned his podcast into an experience. He already had a transportation company, so he was just like, all right, cool. I'm gonna make my VIP offer. I'm gonna add my transportation service, so if somebody wants to come on my podcast, I can go pick them up. I can document that journey from pickup to pod, film them, give them that recap. It's more valuable. You know what I'm saying? So if you just have an entertainment-based show, you need those. Now, if you're starving for a brand deal, because they want sponsorships, they need to deploy the local brand deal strategy. So that's where you think about, well, what businesses do I patronize in my city, in my neighborhood? Who have I been spending money with for years, right? The sub shop, the cleaners, the tax lady, the realtor, you know what I'm saying, the chicken spot, the gym, the coffee spot. They know you by name. You know the owners. You know the managers. They owe you money. Go to them. They don't do no marketing. Say to them, hey, listen, I got a podcast. I do 52 episodes. I got these different ways that I can incorporate your business on my show. It's only going to cost you X, Y, Z. As a matter of fact, I can send you clients because we'll do an affiliate.
That's really good.
Right? And you can go stack those. So now you got a brand deal from the local businesses that's in your city or your town. Now, if you're a business owner, then you do the other strategy, which is a podcast that casts funnel. So basically with that strategy, what we do is we create an application. We're marketing the application. So for instance, your example, if you're someone right now watching this podcast and you want more information on how you can get access to grants, apply to be a guest on the Access Granted Also show. Boom. So they're going to click that application and fill it out. What's on there? Name, number, email, a couple of questions to see if they would be a good fit, right? So now you're just collecting name, numbers, and emails. Who's filling that out? Everybody. You might get 100 leads this week just because everybody want to come on the podcast. What are they giving you? All the information that you need to know if they would be a good fit, right? Boom. They fill out the application. Then from there, they get let's say they go to the next phase. The next phase might be like, pick your time to come on the podcast, whatever the case may be. So let's say Wednesday at 12. So they show up Wednesday at 12. You know everything that you need to know if they're a good fit because they filled out the application. So now it's Wednesday at 12. They have the podcast. They showed up. They're excited. Now you're just going to do a 20-minute show, not a 60-minute show. You're going to do a 20, maybe 25-minute show max. You're going to ask them who they are, how they help people, what they do, what's going on with them. But then you'll probably ask 3 or 4 fact-finding questions to really find out if they really need some help. Then when the show's over, you got 4 options. Close them, book a call, get a referral, or sell an affiliate. That's it. So now my question to you is, you might have a sales team, but my question to you is, could you have 4 of those conversations a day for like 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So if you could do that 4 times, those are 4 sales calls that are very, very hot. 97% of them are showing up, and they told you all their information, and they know why they're coming on the podcast. You're gonna close at least 50 to 60% of them. So if you close 2 of them, you got a 5K offer. You just made 10K today.
Wow.
And what if you do that all week, 50K week?
It's fire.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're leveraging the podcast as a funnel, but then guess what? It still drops as a podcast. You still make the clips, and that content is attracting other people to fill out your application. Right? And that's how you turn a podcast to cash as a business owner, leveraging the podcast to have these conversations that's going to turn them into clients.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good. So you also go out and you do live podcasts. I think I would be terrified. But you are doing it and you're monetizing it as well. Talk about the live podcast strategy.
Yeah, the live podcast strategy, I've been talking about it for probably over a year on several different podcasts. And how it's designed to take a business owner. Because, okay, I'll give you an example. What do you think the issue is that a business owner has who wants to sell a product or service or book calls when they go on a podcast? What are 2 issues that they have that they all face?
They don't know how to sell.
What's another one? Let's say they do know how to sell. Let's say the podcast went well. What are like 2 issues they got?
Follow up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So number 1 would be they don't know when it's dropping.
Okay. Well, yeah.
So we finish this up. You're gonna give me a release date, but there's a gap. There's a gap when this is done and when the release date drop.
Right.
Okay, so that's number 1. And then number 2, what if no one gets to the end and that's where the call to action's at? No one watches it, or a small percentage of people get to the end. So the live podcast solves that problem. So how it's designed is we take that same business owner, we put them in front of an audience ideal for their information. So it's not a random audience. It's an audience that's targeted to learn about what they got to share, right? And we do about 100 plus people per show. We design an interview so it edifies the guest. So it's not random. We're basically, are you the person to say, how do they do that? How did you get that information? Could you break it down? Well, like if somebody here really wanted to do it, could you help them? Like we edify them like as much as we can. When the podcast is over, we allow the guest to do a 20-minute presentation on the same information that they said that they can do. So now they build know, like, and trust, and now they're displaying their skill in front of the audience, and then they pitch from the stage.
Wow.
So now they're able to close people in the room. So that gap of time, there ain't no gap. You know what I'm saying? You can make money right now. So that's how it was designed. It was designed to allow guests to not only get the content and get the podcast, but get rid of those 2 hurdles and make money in the room right now. Now, when the podcast is over, you should still follow up because you're going to have all the name, numbers, and email for everyone that RSVP'd, right, to come on the show or buy the ticket or whatever the case may be. Follow up with them. They're warm. Some of them didn't buy in the room, but they still know who you are. They saw the podcast. What's the difference between people that's going to watch this episode and someone in the room?
They already know you.
The person in the room had to get up, take a shower, get dressed, get there. They ain't leaving. Someone watching this, they probably watch a couple minutes, they off it. But when you in our room, you watch the entire thing. And we gonna feed you, you ain't going nowhere. Right? So you just watch 3-4 hours of content from this individual. And that person's hanging out. So you can ask them all the questions you want after. So even if they don't close or whoever doesn't close, and you follow up with them, they know who you are. They're going to be more likely to then close if it didn't close in that room. So in 5 months, we've made $343,000 combined between the revenue that we brought in and the revenue that our guests also generated from that model.
That's amazing. From live podcast, I would be terrified. That I think I would be.
Don't you speak from stage?
I do. I speak from stage, but podcasting from stage is a little different, I think.
It's easier.
Well, you know what? I think I've actually probably done it. Not necessarily podcast, but we definitely had like an in-person event. We did it at David Shan's studio, and it was probably very similar. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I would be okay. But the thought of it kind of would be like,
terrifies you a little bit,
but I would get over it. I would be okay. So you have a tour coming up as well, right?
We got the tour going up.
The tour is where are you going? Well, where are you going?
So we got Orlando, Miami, Atlanta, New York, Boston, Toronto.
Wow.
Scottsdale.
Okay.
Vegas, Oakland, San Diego, LA, Austin, Houston, and Dallas.
When does the tour start?
January 17th.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is the tour like? What is it focusing on?
It's
Is
where
it
media and monetization meet.
okay?
Yeah.
That's so dope. So who would be the target audience for the tour?
The target audience for the tour is people that want to learn how to add media to their business, or people want to learn how to monetize. So how the tour is structured is the undertone is media and monetization, and we have like the mainstay. So like I'm a mainstay, obviously. So I'm gonna be bringing podcast monetization strategies, how to market by utilizing podcasting, how to make money by utilizing podcasting, right? But then I have one of my mentors, David Meltzer, who's going to be coming on. He's a wealth of knowledge in business in a couple different categories, right? And we got Matt Sapala also coming on. These are just special guests. So they'll pop in a couple of cities here and there. Mm-hmm. Really, I designed it for business owners who want to make money every single month and have a live event, right? So 4 of them will be joining me, or I have slots for 4 of them to join me. So they have the opportunity to speak in front of 150 to 200 people every single month with their offer and pitch from stage, and then close whatever they close and keep whatever they close. Right? I got 2 slots for people that want to go to, let's say, half the tour, 6 or 7 shows. They can't pitch from stage, but they can still make their money in the room. Right? You're going to get all of the content. You're going to get all the content from the stage. I'm going to make it an episodic series. So it's going to be vlogging involved, and it's going to feel like, you want to like root for the person that's speaking or root for the people that's involved. But yeah, so like if a business owner has a 5K offer and we got 200 people in the room, if you're trash from stage, you're still going to sell 10%. Right? So what's that? 20? 20 times 5K is 100,000. You're going to be fine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's designed for those that get it. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for those business owners, for y'all business owners who really want to make money, who really want to get in front of people every single month, who want to have a curated event for you designed in 14 different cities, and all you really got to do is just show up, it's for you.
Yeah, it's fire.
You know what I'm saying? It's for you. So we're going to have 4 main people on the tour. The tour's going to be built around. We'll have 2 people that's going to pop in half the tour. And then we got the special guests. And then anyone that wants to do like a one-off, we just throw them on a panel.
Okay. That's dope. That's super, super dope. I'm going to have to figure out how I can be on one of those panels, because podcasts and grants is like a huge overlooked opportunity. Like people don't know.
Just come on the tour.
Yeah, we got to figure it out. I don't know if I can do 14. My daughter probably would be looking at me like, girl.
It's like one event a month.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's not bad.
It's how it's designed is low lift. So it's not like we going on a road for like 21 days, doing 14 stops in 21 days. It's not like that.
Gotcha. What's the last piece of advice that you might have to just somebody that's watching this? Maybe they want to start a podcast, or maybe even they currently have a podcast and they're just not, maybe they feel like giving up, or they're not sure what's next.
Yeah, well, it always starts with intention.
Yeah.
If you don't really know the result, you're not gonna get what you want. So when I work with people, when it's like they want to monetize their podcast, I always ask them what's the intention. So if you want to monetize, okay, we're gonna use this strategy, or we're gonna use this strategy. What's the result that you want, right? So I would say they need to get really clear on what they want, right? Because you have a random show and you're interviewing random people, that might not be it.
Love it.
Right? Then they need to understand what's the metrics. Because if your metric is views, and you're already off. Because YouTube can decide that they want to change the algorithm. It's going to change how your show is going to get the views. You don't have no control over that. So you need to decide what's that metric? What do you really care mostly about? And then that's what we make sure is the most important thing. So if they're in the middle, I wouldn't quit. I would just do an audit of my situation, right? And then I would figure out which one is me. Am I a business owner that happens to podcasts? Well, then I need to change my strategy. Am I someone that likes podcasting? Okay, cool. And do I just need to be able to make enough money to just support what I'm doing? Then we'll do that. They just have to figure out what they need to do.
That's good.
Yeah. And I got a free training if y'all want to come to a free training.
Yeah, let them know. Let them know how to.
So listen, y'all want to come to a free training, it's just podcastacastmasterclass.com, podcastacastmasterclass.com. They can pull up.
Oh, and let them know how they can lock in with you, like social media pages and all that good stuff.
Social media is going to be at It's Brendan Boyd across all platforms, at ITSBRENDANBOYD. Like I said earlier, you can text the word training to 213-410-4920. I'll drop this fire training on how you can monetize as a business owner.
All right, you guys, this has been another amazing episode of Access Granted. I want you to make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this with 3 people that you love. We'll see you guys next time.